A cordial greeting. Today is Monday, June 19, 2023. This is meteorologist Ruben Garcia speaking. At the time of recording this video, it is 6:15 in the morning, local time in the Eastern Caribbean, where we are closely monitoring what will soon become Tropical Depression Number 3 or Tropical Storm Bret. It is associated with Invest 92, which continues to show signs of organization. In this video, we will also be discussing the second tropical wave, which has already been marked by the National Hurricane Center and has probabilities of development that we also need to monitor over the next few days as it moves northwestward. This morning, some very important changes have emerged in the trajectory forecasts, which put the Caribbean region at greater risk. For this reason, I have decided to record this video in the morning, and from now on, as long as it poses a threat to the Caribbean, I will be recording at least 2 videos a day. Officially, we begin the special coverage of what will soon be Tropical Storm Bret. At 2 a.m., the National Hurricane Center maintained a 90% chance of cyclonic development. It is imminent that this system will become a tropical cyclone as it approaches the Caribbean region. Additionally, as I mentioned yesterday, at 8 p.m., the National Hurricane Center identified the second tropical wave with probabilities of development, and by 2 a.m., the chances of cyclonic development within the next 7 days increased to 30%. Notice that, in general, the second tropical wave is expected to follow a similar path to the future Tropical Storm Bret. As we zoom in on the visible satellite animation, we can see a much more organized system associated with Invest 92. We are starting to observe the development of outer bands and a more defined circulation with the development of some thunderstorms near the center of circulation. This disturbance is about to be classified as a tropical depression or tropical storm, and I suspect the National Hurricane Center will classify it around 11 a.m. or no later than this afternoon. Take a look at the second tropical wave, which has good rotation. However, it is still in the process of organization and may need a few more days before it becomes a tropical cyclone. Now, let's move on to the forecasted trajectory. Notice that there is much better consensus today compared to previous days, as the majority of models maintain a west-northwest trajectory, bringing this system to the eastern and northeastern regions of the Caribbean on Thursday, and then passing just south of Puerto Rico between Thursday night and Friday. Up until now, it appears that the model providing the most accurate forecast for this disturbance is the European model, which, as you know, brings this system to the Caribbean region and was the one we discussed yesterday. However, there are still some models that have a slightly more northwestward trajectory, including the GFS model. Although this morning it has adjusted its trajectory much closer to the Caribbean, so the risk for the northern islands of the Lesser Antilles and Puerto Rico has increased, and we must be very vigilant for the first bulletin issued by the National Hurricane Center. Another reason we have better consensus on the trajectories is that the models now indicate a tropical storm or Category 1 hurricane without significant strengthening before reaching the Caribbean region. This helps the disturbance to travel more westward. It is also crucial to note, as I mentioned yesterday, that when it reaches the Caribbean, it will encounter wind shear. This can be seen in the intensity models, as the majority of them weaken this disturbance starting from next Thursday. At the moment, the outlook suggests that it would arrive in the eastern Caribbean as a strong tropical storm or Category 1 hurricane, and then when it reaches the waters of the Caribbean Sea, it will begin to significantly weaken due to the wind shear. However, we are still awaiting the official forecast from the National Hurricane Center. Let's take a look at the GFS model to see the changes that have emerged. Notice that it maintains a very similar trajectory to what it has been forecasting in the past few days, at least until Thursday, mostly towards the west-northwest. It also develops the second tropical wave, which we are monitoring, into a tropical storm. Then, the GFS model dangerously brings it close to the northern islands of the Lesser Antilles. Although it still maintains the trajectory with a more northwestward component, in the last 6 runs, we can see adjustments in the location of this disturbance, and each time it places it closer to the Caribbean region. The GFS model is adjusting its forecast to be more similar to the European model, and we will be vigilant throughout the day if this trend continues. Also, notice that there is a trend of showing the second tropical wave as stronger. Therefore, I suspect that the National Hurricane Center will increase the development probabilities for this second tropical wave. In relation to the other models, the European model remains consistent in bringing a weak to moderate tropical storm to the eastern Caribbean on Thursday night. Take note of the second tropical wave, which it doesn't currently develop, but it keeps it quite strong as it moves northwestward. The German model also predicts a weak tropical storm moving over the arc of the Lesser Antilles on Thursday afternoon or evening, and similarly, the United Kingdom model shows a tropical storm approaching the Caribbean on Thursday night. Finally, we have a consensus among the models, and it is important that if you live in the Eastern Caribbean region, Puerto Rico, and the Dominican Republic, you should start paying close attention to the movement of these future cyclones. Additionally, confidence in the forecast has increased significantly because all the ensemble members of the European model bring this disturbance as a tropical storm, reaching the Caribbean region. Also, note that the European model ensemble members maintain a northwestward trajectory for the second tropical wave, but it is still too early to determine its exact path. Similarly, the ensemble members of the GFS model have adjusted their forecast. Now, many of them show a west-northwestward trajectory, moving the future Tropical Storm Bret over the northeastern region of the Caribbean. Although to a lesser extent, there are still a few members that insist on a northwestward movement. We will be observing this scenario, but it is becoming less likely as the consensus is that it would reach the Caribbean region. Also, observe the second tropical wave with a more northwestward movement, similar to what the European model shows. Well, that's all for now. Stay tuned to Hurricane Info for more updates throughout the day. If you are interested in receiving notifications when I upload new videos, subscribe to my channel using the red button below the video. In the afternoon or early evening, I will be updating this forecast. I hope everyone has an excellent start to the week.